My name is James Rix. I'm the head of data centres and industrial projects for JLL in Malaysia and Indonesia. I've worked in the data centre industry since 11 AM on the 12th of December 2007, when I walked into Global Switch on Tai Seng Drive in Singapore. Since then, I've run data centre projects in 14 different countries over 3 continents, and I'm now back here in Asia trying to deliver more great data centre projects to help the digital economy and address also the human capital deficit. I think it's often true with real estate that it's location, location, location. Yes, it is location. Land is cheaper than in some of the neighbouring countries. Labour is cheaper than some of the local countries. Utility supplies are also somewhat cheaper than some of the other local countries. So we need to bear that in mind when we talk about Malaysia's growth. There are advantages to being here in Malaysia. The moratorium in Singapore recently has meant that Johor Bahru has become somewhat of a spillover for data centres, and then people have seen the attractiveness of the rest of Malaysia. So now you have people like Google, AWS, Microsoft, Vantage, that are all building out in the either Negeri Sembilan or Selangor areas, which is increasing the value of data centres and the value of the country as a data centre hub. It is good, just taking the last point first, the renewable energy bit. Malaysia does not have enough renewable energy. Only 25% of the generated capacity is renewable. So the more that can be done as far as that's concerned is good, but it needs to be developed with other solutions alongside it. Solar energy does not, strangely enough, generate when the sun does not shine. So you need to have a good battery energy storage system to be able to capture that energy for usage at times of low production. Wind energy doesn't work here. There's not enough wind at the right speeds. We don't have the right type of wind. But people need to look at sustainability continually. We need to look at what they can do to make their data centres more sustainable as they move forward. Whether that's looking at embodying GBI initiatives or LEED within their data centres, and thinking about, is my server running continually or have I used a sleep state? By using sleep states within applications and servers, the amount of energy can be reduced considerably. So it's not just running it at full throttle, it is making sure we have sensible usage of devices. AI is not going to go away, not by any stretch of the imagination. However, what we need to think about is we have our AI data centres and we also have cloud data centres. Cloud has not disappeared because there is AI. Cloud continues to grow at a fast rate. So we need to think, well, for an AI facility, what do we need? Well, you need a better cooling solution. Every data centre needs a better cooling solution. It's using specific cooling solutions adapted to the use case that you have. So whether you're wanting to run 60 kilowatts in a rack or 100 kilowatts in a rack or more, you need to define the right cooling solution for that. When you have a cooling solution for a high density rack, you also increase the weight. So is the floor capable of standing that additional weight? If it is in a multi-story facility, you'll also be hanging services from the underside of the floor, from the soffit of that floor, which will increase the pull on that floor. So not only have you got a greater imposed load, but you've got another load underneath the floor that you also need to think about. Well, because you'll run, maybe if you've got a solid floor, you need to run your data or any cooling pipes or power at high level, and it's all hung from the underside, from the soffit of the floor. So you need to make sure that there is enough structural capability within the floor to withstand that load that is being hung from it. It's maybe been designed in older facilities for less to be hung from the underside of the floor. Old data centres, you thought you had a very strong floor if it was 7.5 kilonewtons per square metre. Now you want 20 kilonewtons per square metre. You don't want a raised floor, you want a solid slab, to work from. That's why a lot of hyperscalers build single story, because it's quicker, and they're putting a slab on grade which has got greater bearing capacity than the slab between columns. It's a good event to get professionals together to be able to talk data centres. There's been a lot of talk around AI and other services that run within the facility, but we need to consider the facility itself, because that is something that, if that wasn't there, the services would not run. They don't just run in the cloud. The cloud is the grey box on the ground. So let's continue talking. Inspiring.